ఇండియా మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్లో ఆర్ షిప్పింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో సూపర్ పవర్ కావాలంటే మనం ఏం చేయాలి?
It's an international business, earning in dollars, spending in dollars. Make it free. First thing is money, taxation. Tax will come later on.
Okay.
One question is why India cannot become maritime superpower? Start asking all the bureaucrats and politicians. Discuss, debate.
What if the temperature system fails? That LNG starts forming
But
into gas.
that is why design approvals, we look into this. If you don't think like that, you cannot make planes 100% safe. Millions of people are flying every day. మనుషులు లేరని కాదు మన దగ్గర 1.4 billion పాపులేషన్. చైనా ఎలా అయింది ఇప్పుడు? నంబర్ 1 షిప్ బిల్డర్స్ ఇన్ ద వరల్డ్.
I think Niti Aayog is doing very good things.
Very good
things.
But they are also overburdened with the gas.
But again, same problem because they don't have any execution.
No, still with the present government, they're listening. But how much? They don't have time. So it's getting delayed. Aadhaar is very essential. We can do wonders. Every 10 meters, the pressure increases by 1 bar.
Okay.
So if it go to 100 meters, that means 10 bar pressure.
Okay.
Which is a big pressure. సింగపూర్లో ఉన్న ప్రతి మనిషి వాళ్ళ పాస్పోర్ట్తో ఏ కంట్రీకైనా వెళ్ళొచ్చు, 6 నెలలు ఉండొచ్చు. వీసా అవసరం లేదు వాడికి. మనకెందుకు అవసరం ఇది? టుడే విత్ మై పాస్పోర్ట్ ఐ షుడ్ బి ఏబుల్ టు గో టు ఎనీ కంట్రీ. ఐ కెనాట్ గో. వై ఐ నీడ్ వీసా? బికాజ్ మై ఐడెంటిటీ ఈస్ నాట్ దేర్.
2021లో ఒక ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ అయ్యింది సూయజ్ కెనాల్ గురించి. మీకు సూయజ్ కెనాల్ గురించి తెలిసే ఉంటుంది. ఇట్ కనెక్ట్స్ మెడిటరేనియన్ సీ ఫ్రమ్ రెడ్ సీ. సో యూరోప్ని ఏషియాకి కనెక్ట్ చేస్తుంది. సో ఆ బ్లాకేడ్ వల్ల చాలా షిప్స్ అక్కడ స్టక్ అయిపోయాయి. సో దానివల్ల స్పెక్యులేషన్తో క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ ప్రైసెస్ కానీ వేరే కమాడిటీ ప్రైసెస్ కానీ షూటప్ అయ్యాయి. ఇదంతా ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నా అంటే దిస్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ అండర్ స్కోర్ ద ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ షిప్పింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఫర్ ద వరల్డ్ ఎకానమీ. ఈరోజు మన ముందుకు వస్తున్న గెస్ట్ ఎవరంటే తను మ్యారిటైమ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్లో ఎక్స్పర్ట్, సబ్జెక్ట్ మ్యాటర్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్. హీ హ్యాస్ 45 years ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఇన్ ద మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్. సో తన నుంచి మనం చాలా విషయాలు నేర్చుకుందాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ సంజీవ రెడ్డి గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ కమింగ్ టు ద పాడ్కాస్ట్. సో మీకు 45 years ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఉంది, రైట్?
అవును.
ఓకే. సో you have been a marine engineer and now you are reviewing, designing, not designing, I guess you review the designs, right?
Correct.
If I'm not wrong. ఎలా స్టార్ట్ అయింది మీకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ అసలు? ఎందుకంటే మెరైన్ ఇంజనీర్స్ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ మన తెలుగు వాళ్ళు తక్కువ ఉండడం, రైట్? అంటే ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ 1980s, రైట్? మీ కెరియర్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది 1980sలో కదా?
కరెక్ట్.
కుడ్ యూ ప్లీజ్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ అండ్ దెన్ మేబీ మీకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ అసలు ఎలా స్టార్ట్ అయింది మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ పై? ఆ పాత్ ఏంటో చెప్తారా మాకు?
నేను స్మాల్ విలేజ్లో పుట్టి పెరిగాను. అక్కడ నుండి అలా ఇంజనీరింగ్ జాయిన్ అయ్యాను, మెకానికల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్. 5 years కంప్లీట్ చేసినప్పుడు నాకు డిజైన్ అండ్ క్రయోజెనిక్స్లో చాలా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉండేది, కానీ కాలేజీలో అది ఆఫర్ చేయలేదు వాళ్ళు. నేను ప్రొడక్షన్ ఇంజనీర్గా కంప్లీట్ చేసి ప్రొడక్షన్ ఆఫ్ పవర్ బాయిలర్స్లో జాయిన్ అయ్యాను.
సో ఇది ఎప్పుడు?
1978. I was working as a production engineer, trainee production engineer in Shahabad in a boiler manufacturing company. బిగ్ హెవీ ఇండస్ట్రీ.
సో అది మీ ఫస్ట్ కంపెనీ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత?
అప్పుడు మా కొలీగ్ ఒకతను నాకు పేపర్ కటింగ్ చూపించాడు. మెరీన్ ఇండస్ట్రీ, మా బ్రదర్ ఉన్నాడు, షిప్ లో సేల్ అవుతున్నాడు. అప్పుడు పవర్ లేనప్పుడు బ్రెడ్ బటర్ తిని బతకాలి, ఇలాంటి ఐడియాస్ చెప్పాడు. ఆ కటింగ్ చూసి నాకు ఎందుకో ఇంట్రెస్ట్ వచ్చి అప్లై చేద్దాం అనుకున్నాను. కానీ ఫీజు అది మా మదర్ అడిగితే షీ సపోర్టెడ్. దెన్ ఐ అప్లైడ్, ఐ గాట్ సెలెక్టెడ్. We were 100 from all over India in Bombay. The institute is Directorate of Marine Engineering Training.
Directorate of Marine Engineering and Training. Okay.
1 year training. And we were 50 mechanicals and 50 electrical graduates in the batch. I completed successfully in 1980 in July. Then I was sponsored by Shipping Corporation of India. It's a government company in India, and because of my ranks and other things, maybe I was given one of the best ships, State of Andhra Pradesh.
So ship name is State of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. My role enti first akkada?
As a junior engineer. Designated as 5th engineer, and I joined the ship in Cochin. On that ship, 19 months at a stretch, we sailed. We never came to India, but around the globe. 2 times we went, various countries, various ports, Far East to America to West Indies, Venezuela, and many countries, UK, Canada, Europe. Then finally we came back to Tutier and I got off. After 19 months, without a holiday, without Sundays, without birthdays, we had to sail, and minimum 12 to 16 hours work. physically. Free time I used to read the manuals. Japanese ships, beautiful manuals were provided. So that was my first ship experience. But initially the seasickness I had to face. Even when the engines were started, the vibration itself made me feel sick actually.
Okay.
It took a couple of weeks and months to get over it. You vomit it out like the dogs do to remain healthy. Probably after that, we never needed doctor's assistance. During my entire 14 years time, never had to visit a doctor when I was out at sea.
Okay.
You don't have a doctor on board actually.
So we do have or
No,
you don't
we
don't have?
no ship except passenger ships. No ship.
మరి ఏదైనా మెడికల్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ
Minimum
ఉన్నప్పుడు
medicines by rules you have to carry.
So that is just the first
any
aid.
doctor in the world on communication channels, they are supposed to advise free advice to the patient.
సో ఎప్పుడైనా మెడికల్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ ఎవరికైనా వచ్చిందా అంటే మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా సేల్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు అది మీకు మీకు
yeah, 1-2 occasions it happened, but the heart patients there.
హార్ట్ పేషెంట్స్
So
ఓకే
that, he could not help it. He was working and it just came for lunch and he collapsed before even sailing. One case, and the other case was we were sailing towards Canada. We were approaching, but that guy died of heart attack. Otherwise, I have not seen any serious patients throughout my life, including when I was managing many ships. I mean, 50-60 ships are operating all over the world. We have every ship 25 to 30 crew members on ship.
ఇండియా మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్లో ఆర్ షిప్పింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో సూపర్ పవర్ కావాలంటే మనం ఏం చేయాలి, ఎస్పెషల్లీ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు ద రిసోర్సెస్, రైట్, అండ్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు ద క్యాపిటల్ or with respect to the the technology also?
It's a good question. Actually, this has been my thinking for decades now. I had made a presentation long back why India cannot become a superpower in maritime industry. We have all the ingredients. There's something lacking, right? We have a lot of manpower. One should think, why shipping companies started in Hong Kong and Singapore? Why not in India? Basic reason is the financial transactions, the taxation. It's an international business, earning in dollars, spending in dollars. Make it free. Simple. All companies from Hong Kong and Singapore relocate to India. Why Indians or Indian professionals, sir? These companies in Hong Kong and Singapore and elsewhere run by Indian professionals, even in the US.
Seriously?
Yes. That is the strength we have. We have very trained, very large trained manpower. The thing is, there was no representation to government of India. మన వాళ్ళు ఎవరు వాళ్ళని కన్విన్స్ చేయలేకపోయారు. ఏం చేస్తే ఆ కంపెనీస్ అన్ని ఇక్కడికి మూవ్ అవుతాయి, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఆపరేట్ చేస్తాయి. $10 బయటకు తీయలేము మన ఇండియా నుంచి. ఎంత కష్టం, అది కుదరదు. షిప్పింగ్ కంపెనీలో ఇట్స్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ బిజినెస్. యూ టు పే టు ద ఏజెంట్స్ ఇన్ డాలర్స్ ఇన్ ఓవర్ నైట్. టక్. Money transactions in dollars should be quick. I just could not do as an NRI also. So why will I recommend anybody to start company in Hyderabad? We can manage many shipping companies from Hyderabad, for example. Give special benefits. Why they have to go and live in Singapore and Hyderabad, spending so much on house rents and schooling? No professional wants there. It's a beautiful city, or not better than Hyderabad.
So we don't have any vehicle,
No, the government consideration towards shipping industry is lacking. Why shipping companies cannot be operated from India? First thing. Why insurance companies in shipping insurance companies not started in India? Second thing. Okay. Third thing, manpower. We are not shortage of manpower. Very easy to train. We have many training institutes, and it can be improved in many big way. If the government shows interest into that, many things can be done. We have very qualified people, qualified engineers.
So
we have in Hyderabad 150 engineers, engineering colleges. But basically, you need a kind of mechanical engineers, basic qualification plus mechatronics.
If you want to have a job in as a maritime engineer, you have to emigrate to other countries. There is no other option.
No, you from here you're sailing from a sailing point of view, but to join a foreign flag vessel, you won't get. It's a competitive world, as I mentioned. You won't get jobs. So many people are trained, but they're not getting jobs because we don't own the ship. Why we don't own the ships? Another cause again.
Yeah, right.
So the government should step in to start from beginning. See, IT industry took off, became world power in IT industry because government did not understand what IT industry was doing, how to tax them. They did not understand. Okay. That is why they took off. Narayanamurthy took off. Example, right. I'm monitoring very closely. Okay. Shipping company cannot do. Government should bring in, come, start here. We give you all the benefits possible. Finish the story. We have manpower to run the shipping companies. From Hyderabad, we can run many shipping companies, many thousands of ships sitting in Hyderabad office. You cannot do that.
Okay.
Taxation. You want to transfer some $1,000 to an agent in Malaysia, Indonesia. Can you transfer overnight? You cannot. These are the bottlenecks because
సో పాలసీ చేంజెస్ కావాలి అంటారు.
only one team has to study, remove all the bottlenecks in the rules and regulations pertaining to shipping industry. And it's not that. We should own ships to save foreign exchange. One is earning foreign exchange as it is. Suppose I want to see it, for India to become maritime superpower, owning 10,000 ships. Can we run 10,000 ships? Do we have manpower? We may not have sufficient, but we can train and build 10,000 ship requirement to meet the manpower. India can do that. India has that population, that qualified people. They can be trained. They can be skilled. Point number one. Point number two, why we are not owning 10,000 ships? Somebody has to answer. Right? Tomorrow, and how much foreign exchange is going by importing and exporting cargo using foreign flag ship, paying $50,000 per day for a ship. Any statistics is analyzed. That's why I'm doing data science, to bring in these statistics to prove to the government this is the billions of dollars foreign exchange is getting drained.
So you're only focusing on make in India, only the goods, but not the ship itself.
How are you going to move? Nobody thinking.
Right.
You have to think 100 years ahead, as I said, 1,000 years ahead.
Correct.
You're not even thinking this. Mr. Modi has started 9 years ago, Make in India, right? 9 years, how many shipping companies floated? How many shipbuilding yards came up? Nothing. 9 years passed. Something lacking, right?
Right.
Some committee experts with powerful experts should sit together, make decisions. Mr. Modi will support as long as he is convinced, logical thinker. He's a technocrat, basically.
Right.
So he will understand. You explain to him properly as to what is required, what we should do. He will not interfere. But that is not there. Why? The old bureaucratic style of functioning is not going out because the younger blood has to replace. It takes time.
Okay.
This is a transition, but we are losing the bogie.
Okay.
I mean, at least we should be able to build our own requirement of ships. As I said, Mr. Modi signed in Korea. They know that we cannot build. Finally, we gave up everything they're building, 22 ships or something, which we signed with US.
Okay.
To get LNG from US to India.
Okay.
Okay. He signed some 4 or 5 years ago, not today.
But as you said, if we don't have LNG docking facilities.
And that is another thing, docking facility. In this, we had a Niti Aayog, one person was there. He was given this assignment. We had Maritime University in Chennai. The Vice Chancellor was a Tamil Pandit. Maritime University, Vice Chancellor Tamil Pandit. He was sacked during Nitin Gadkari time or somebody because he is of no use. They asked him about LNG vessel building in India.
Okay.
He doesn't have any experience and knowledge. He is a Tamil Pandit.
Okay.
So he resigned. He was sacked actually. Then Niti Aayog fellow, he went back to US to teaching profession. He doesn't have LNG knowledge. So he could not advise the government as to whether we can build LNG or not. That means what happened? Where is the expertise? We don't have subject matter experts here in the country. We have. So that is what government needs. The thing is, dealing with bureaucrats in India is the biggest problem. That's why Nandan Nilekani, when we started the unique ID thing, he was put in place by right way by Sampit Roda and Manmohan Singh and all that. He was struggling. He could not openly say it on the TV interviews. Struggling to manage the bureaucrats.
I think at one point he mentioned that also.
He mentioned,
I think when he is
but
out of the project,
he wanted to become a politician. He contested also. He lost election. That's different. Right. That's wrong, right? We lost the bogey. Unique ID would have made so strong, and we could have sold the technology to the world and make trillions of dollars foreign exchange. It's such a powerful thing. Unique ID is required. After Taj incident, I wrote email to Government of India and pushed some political party in Hyderabad to push this matter to Central. They discussed with Rahul Gandhi. They understood luckily. Sampit Roda was there to advise them. That's a good idea. They started, but how many hindrances came in between?
Right.
It's not necessary. First thing is, when you want to start something, do we need it? Don't we need it? Discussion. Yes, we need it. Then go. Whether you want to do it today or tomorrow after 10 years, but go. No going back. Now we are going up and down with unique ID. Such a big problem with even SIM cards. Wrong SIM cards going to wrong people. If you had this system, you don't need to fill up the form for SIM card.
I think now they are taking that.
But why Supreme Court has not given the decision?
Because
now
of
they say contempt of court. If I talk like this,
issues.
They say contempt of court. Yeah. But Supreme Court decided, confused everybody. Banking sector, telephone sector, was essential technology to identify each individual, to prevent terrorism, to prevent wrong people using wrong things, to investigate cases. You
Right.
need essential thing, Irish and this. Once this system is perfect, you don't need visa to go to any country. We should work that way rather than diplomatically discussing. We want visas, beg US, beg UK. No need of begging. They want identity of a person to give you a visa. Why Singaporeans are going? He's a beggar, literally. He can go to US and stay for 6 months. What is wrong with me? But I'm not allowed without a visa.
Of course.
And that government should think, right?
Right.
The job of bureaucrats is this, to educate government politicians that this is what we should do. Visa-free travel for Indians, how do we achieve for any country? Think, what is the solution? Many Medavulu endaru unnaru Indialo. They can give ideas and advices. If you can't think as a bureaucrat, you take the advice.
You can take the advisory always, right? Yeah.
But implement it in a big way. Many things, the driving licenses, everything linked to Aadhaar. Where is the problem? You don't need a separate driving license. With your Aadhaar number, you can make out whether you are a qualified driver or not.
Correct.
You don't need that. With facial recognition, they can make out from Aadhaar that you are the person you are driving. Your points can be deducted. When you make a wrong or high speed, overspeed, whatever, your points can be deducted. Finally, you lose your driving license. The technology is available. That's why I'm doing data science. In that, one of the subject is facial recognition. Irish facial recognition, that topic, I want to master it actually.
Okay.
So one of the subjects. Manpower training is not a big deal. In China, the engine building, large diesel engines for ships, built near the largest project. What is that in China? Heidel project. I was taken there for testing of the engines. Three Gorges project, right? I was taken there. I didn't know I was going there actually. I had to test the engines. One day before I reached, they took me to the Three Gorges project. I said, oh, this is what is Three Gorges. Then I saw on the internet. Anyway, I went and saw those workers are all illiterate.
Okay.
They were completely disassembling 50,000 horsepower engine and assembling back in our shipyard where I supervised, and their own supervisor was there. I was watching, monitoring the quality of assembly. They assembled. They're all illiterate. So people can be trained to disassemble and assemble large engines in a meticulous way. But training, skill development you don't need for shipbuilding industry all rocket scientists. But design level, conceptual design level, you need a group of people. But remaining, we have population 1.4 billion. We're looking at jobs. Don't say jobs creation, free salaries, free money. No, create jobs. So that, maritime industry, we can become a superpower.
So one thing I think you
mentioned...
As I
said, weather is the only negative aspect, but we can compensate some other way. We give them all kinds of benefits when off the work. Their workplaces, offices, their living standards, all air conditioned, nice, this thing. Then physically 8 hours working in a harsh climate is okay. We can build ships. Vietnam is building. Okay. They don't have much better weather condition. Singapore is building. Saudi Arabia wants to build. Okay. Dubai is building, but not many. But why can't India build? So it's we have every ingredient to become superpower.
So you are saying, I think to sum it up, you are saying we need policy support, structural changes, for those
money
policies,
is the main thing.
And the capital availability, right? And also the skill set we already have. That's what you are saying. The skill set.
It can be built up, and we have enough trained people to train others. As I said, I am also certified. I used to take classes. So like that, many people are.
And you are saying the people who are building ships in China or Korea or Japan, they are Indians only. That's what you are saying, right? Mostly.
Supervision. Not designing. Design approvals, Indians are there. But managing the ships in Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai are Indians. Why these companies are existing in these three countries? Let some bureaucrats answer this. Why not India? Tell me. Right. That means ship owner is comfortable to have company there.
Of course.
The reason is money transfers.
Yeah.
Not that they want to do some jiggly-puggly, money transfers. Why not India? So this is a bottleneck. Because our rules, RBI rules, for $10 million, Nirav Modi 6,000 crores, or the Malia, another this thing, same rules.
Same rules.
That is the problem in India. RBI should segregate these rules for millions and billions and small amounts. Now they're doing an UPI transfer to up to 200 rupees something. That kind of thing should have started 75 years ago. Anyway, that is the root of the problem. Okay. Our rules, the way they kept on making, building up paperworks and cases 25 years. And Any case, especially on the corporate side, even maritime industry also, any case, it should be settled in days, not in
I think it is
decades.
very bad in the aviation industry also, right? I think lessees who rented aeroplanes to these loss-making Indian operators, they cannot take their aeroplane back because of the rules, right? So I think they said something.
These two,
we don't
transport
want to
industry,
give,
airlines and maritime industry, they have to be separated, and big group has to be like Niti Aayog. Separate group should be working on only these two. Think tank, big think tank with lot of experience.
I think Niti Aayog is doing very good things.
Very good things,
Very
no
good
doubt.
things.
But
Yeah.
they are also overburdened with the
But again, same problem because they don't have any execution power, right?
Power.
You know, they are not.
No, still with the present government, they're listening, but how much they don't have time, so it's getting delayed.
They have to prepare for elections also. So
That
think
is a
about
separate thing. There's no connection for
Yeah.
for India to become maritime superpower in elections. Nothing.
Okay.
This is a long-term policy matter. 100 years, 200 years, 300 years.
Okay.
One question is why India cannot become maritime superpower. Start asking all the bureaucrats and politicians. Discuss, debate. Nobody discusses because nobody understands. Neither TV channels. No discussion. Why? If somebody wants to start, so many hindrances they can bring in. They can to kill you. First thing is money, taxation. Hurry, tax will come later on. Money will come will
yeah.
not go right from the beginning. You want that only. No, you make it free. Everybody will start companies in India. See, when the Singapore and other countries finance economy became very bad, companies moved to Malaysia. They found it convenient. Not necessarily it's a seaport to start a shipping company. Ship management company, back offices with the technology, with the high-speed internet and all kinds of 5G systems. Now, sitting in Hyderabad, thousands of ships can be managed with video conferencing with the ships. You can see the problem. You can advise sitting here.
Okay.
Solve the problems. So with all these things available, what is missing? Why we are not operating from India when all Indians are operating ships from Hong Kong? Not that they love Hong Kong and Singapore. All their earnings are going for this only. My house rent used to be $5,000 in Singapore. Staying alone. I was staying in a nice apartment, of course. Then I used to spend most of the time in Starbucks only. But so much salary goes into taxation and house rents. Same money in India, I'm a king. That house rent itself is a big money in India for me. So I would love to work from India, right? Anybody. Yeah. So these are the things. Now, the moment I start, I tell you, I get paid as a freelance subject matter expert for design approval from sitting at home during COVID time. Hong Kong Bank keeps on calling me. So much dollar came. I mean, $1,000, $2,000, some dollars came into your account. And what is the purpose? From where it is coming? Is it a question to ask?
Yeah.
I've been NRI. I was NRI for so many decades. And they have records in Hong Kong Bank. And that kind of, I consider it an harassment. This is a small thing looks like, but people are scared. Knowing this, no, we will work in Singapore. Because the guys who are providing services, they want immediate payment in dollars. In shipping industry works like that, immediate payment. So if payment you're not able to make, next time they will not do service and ship is stuck and we are losing money. We can't afford that. Time is money for a ship, for every hour. So these are the issues. Mainly the government, think tank, rules and regulations, easing up. See, when you say ease up doing business, where we just try to improve, show somewhere to the world that we are improving. Why not overnight? Remove all the scrap, all the paperwork. Write fresh rules, no? Remove, scrap everything 100%, including RBI rules. So these are some of the things, my views, personal views. My experience, analysis of the world, different countries, how they grew. I've been watching China, Korea. Korea was poor country. China was poor country in 1980. Korea became advanced country. China becoming a most advanced country in the world. I've seen in last 43 years of my visits through these two countries. I lived there for years. I have Korean driving license as well. So I find it so easy, so nice, so user-friendly people. So there is a big difference. So we have to change, basically.
I think we are changing,
Changing.
That's what I believe.
Everybody says to me,
Okay.
I lost patience. My life is gone in the waiting for this change.
సో సేలర్స్ లైఫ్ చాలా టఫ్ కదా సార్, ఎందుకంటే దే హ్యావ్ టు బీ అవే ఫ్రమ్ their family, their friends, nobody to talk to, and it goes on for not just months, for years also. For example, you just said మీ ఫస్ట్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ దాదాపు యూ సేల్డ్ ఫర్ 19 months or 20 months at one stretch.
Yeah. Later on also 13 months,
13
12
months.
months. Now it became 3-4 months.
Wow.
By rules, they cannot force you to sail more.
Okay.
Now, but our
okay.
time was difficult. But I am there.
Mhm.
Proof. Stop.
ఏదైనా ఎమర్జెన్సీ సిచ్యువేషన్ వచ్చిందా మీరు సేల్ చేసేటప్పుడు?
Most of the time we used to work to prevent problems actually. That is a habit we develop, preventing a problem. We don't wait for the problems to crop up. But machinery always can give you trouble because every time people change, previous people, how they operated, what their damages caused, what kind of spare parts they used. Because of that, we might have emergencies.
Okay.
So many emergencies actually we faced, but we solved the problems. That means you have to have the knowledge to solve understand
Of
the
course.
problem and solve the problem. That was the goal. So you have to keep on updating your knowledge continuously.
Okay.
Every machinery is different. Every maker's manufacturing unit is different. A compressor in one ship is different from other ship. An engine from one ship different from other. A generator from one ship different from other ship generator. So we have to develop that knowledge and also update yourself the moment you join a ship. So, and the condition you don't know when you
Okay.
join. Then you start operating and monitoring, and then you should work to prevent. We do a lot
Okay.
of preventive maintenance at regular intervals, and sometimes you don't have time to carry out preventive maintenance also.
I think you worked like 14 years as a sailor
Yeah.
before you started working as a design basically, or what should I say, engineering?
No,
engineering the ships or reviewing,
managing the ships.
managing the
from
ships.
shore.
సార్ మెయిన్ చాలా మందికి ఎస్పెషల్లీ అవుట్ సైడర్స్కి వీ డోంట్ నో ద టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ద షిప్స్. అంటే కార్గోలో కూడా చాలా టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ షిప్స్ ఉంటాయి. మనకు కనిపించేది కంటైనర్ షిప్. సమ్ పీపుల్ నో షిప్ దట్ ఈస్ క్యారింగ్ ఆయిల్, ఎందుకంటే అది హైట్గా ఎక్కువ ఉండదు, రైట్? మేబీ క్రూజ్ షిప్స్, రైట్? అదే తెలుసు అనమాట. ఇంకా దానికి తప్పించి వేరే
చూస్తుంటాం కాబట్టి
సినిమాలు చూస్తుంటాం కాబట్టి మేబీ ఏదైనా కేటగరైజేషన్ ఉందా షిప్స్?
చెప్పొచ్చు, సింప్లిఫై చేయొచ్చు అది. Among merchant ships, because there is different things, right? Merchant ships and naval ships. Naval ships are for defense, totally different actually. Naval ships lo hundreds of people are there to operate naval ship. Rarely they operate.
And the requirements are also different for naval ship.
Merchant ships accommodation is very limited. Maximum 30 people, around 30 people.
Okay.
Each ship capacity has to be used for carrying cargo, commercial benefit, ultimately commercial benefit. So you should be able to carry as much cargo as possible on a given ship. That is the requirement. So minimum people, maximum cargo for a commercial ship. Under commercial category, see if you see what kind of cargoes you have to carry between countries. Brazil produces a lot of iron ore, for example. China needs. You need iron ore carrier. We call them bulk carriers. So they build and they carry from Brazil to China. Ship goes back, again carry, like that.
So ship is designed for a specific cargo also. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Depending on the cargo. That's why we call them bulk carriers.
Bulk carriers.
Then the container ships. Many cargoes, loose cargoes, general cargoes like TVs and computers, all these they have to carry. Instead of carrying them in a small boxes, the large containers, they are stuffed, packed.
Like a 40-foot container, something like that.
Including prawns and fish sometimes under minus 18 degrees centigrade. The container is built with refrigeration. We call it refrigerated containers. So all kinds of containers we carry. I sailed on container ships also.
So power ఎలా వస్తుంది మరి కంటైనర్ షిప్స్ కి?
Ship లో ఉన్న power ni we design that way, and they are available near the container, in the holds, on the deck. They are available and they are plugged in.
Okay.
And there will be a graph to see the temperature. Otherwise prawn will get damaged.
Okay.
So you have to prove that temperature always maintained throughout the passage from A to B.
And
delivered. The moment it is delivered, they maintain the temperature until it goes to the destination. Otherwise, it can become poison, right?
So
seafood.
So you have to monitor for 30 days, 35 days.
Yeah. We monitor. As a chief engineer, my responsibility. Like
going back to the categorization, you said merchant. In the merchant,
bulk carriers, container ships, I said.
Okay.
Then general cargo, where loose packets are carried. All kinds of things. Shoes, you name a cargo. Everything is a cargo, right? Your clothes and uncontainerized cargoes can be carried on a general cargo ship. They are discharged and loaded by cranes. Either shore cranes or ship-built cranes. Ship also will have cranes. They're called general cargo ships. Then comes to oil tankers. Then comes to chemical tankers. Among oil tankers also you have different. Crude oil tanker, pure crude oil carried to like Reliance Industry, processing and then produce byproducts of diesel, kerosene and aviation fuel, for example. All kinds of things. Then they are carried by product tankers. They are different again. Okay. Then the chemical tankers. We produce chemical also. Like Reliance Industry produces Tata Chemicals. They produce chemicals. These are carried by specialized chemical tankers. So they are different category. Chemical, crude oil tankers, product tankers, general cargo, container ships, bulk carriers.
Okay.
These are the main category.
Okay.
Then comes the LNG, natural gas liquefied, carry liquefied natural gas, LNG tankers. They are very sophisticated, very expensive, very specialized knowledge is required to operate these ships safely. These are the
So-
category. LNG and also LPG. Like at home cooking gas is LPG.
So you carry them or transport them in a liquid form, ante kada?
Most of these liquid
of this-
fuels like LPG, LNG, crude oil, product tankers, chemicals, all these are liquids.
Yeah, at least crude oil
We
is
call them tankers, that's why.
yeah, at least crude oil is you don't need to refrigerate crude oil, right?
No, crude
Yeah.
oil just it comes from seabed.
But the LNG we need to refrigerate.
That is cooled ashore, which is
Okay.
again different process. It's a complicated process. Gas to liquid,
Mhm.
very expensive process.
అది అంత టెంపరేచర్ ఎలా మెయింటైన్ చేస్తారు షిప్ లో? అంటే
That's
మైనస్ ఎంత
that's
చెప్పారు
it's,
ఇంతకు ముందు?
it's a
150 -150 degrees Celsius
yeah.
or 160 degrees
Minus
Celsius?
162.
Okay, 160.
ఎలా మెయింటైన్ చేస్తారంటే layman's terms. When you are making tea, it keeps boiling, but the temperature remains 100 degrees, right? Because it is evaporating.
Yeah.
Evaporation cools the thing. Body sweat evaporates. It cools your body. That's how the body temperature maintained. So LNG also, LNG keeps evaporating to maintain the temperature below that.
Mhm.
This evaporated gas used in the engines as a fuel. Now the latest technology.
Acha.
Earlier also we were using in boilers, but
Okay.
now engines, diesel engines use gas. So clean exhaust also
Mhm.
with this gas.
Mhm.
So clean exhaust, the air pollution is reduced. LNG carried from A to B over a period of 30 days,
Mhm.
maintaining minus 162. Of course, heavily insulated tanks it is stored, first of all.
సో మెటలర్జికల్ గా ఛాలెంజింగ్ కాదా ఇది? ఎందుకంటే
అది design లో.
మైనస్ 162 డిగ్రీస్
అది
లో
design
అంటే
లో.
ఎవ్రీథింగ్
But
కెన్
design
బికమ్
state-
బ్రిటిల్, రైట్? ఇట్ కెన్
Yeah. It can become brittle and can break, like even ship can break into two pieces. If there is a pipe leaking,
ఓకే
this pipe is stainless steel.
ఓకే
Cargo is going.
ఓకే
If there is a problem, leak, it falls on the deck. What happens? The deck is steel, normal steel, mild steel.
ఓకే
So it can crack. Ship can crack into two pieces. So the design and the building of these pipes and things are so important. The quality control of these things. I'm involved in design approval of these ships.
సో రీసెంట్గా ఒక మీరు ఓషన్ గేట్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ వినే ఉంటారు, రైట్? టైటానిక్ వ్రెకేజ్ చూడడానికి వెళ్ళింది, అక్కడ ప్రెషర్ తట్టుకోలేక ఇంప్లోడ్ అయిపోయింది. చాలా మందికి ఓషియానిక్ ప్రెషర్స్ అంటే వెన్ యూ గో అండర్ ద వాటర్ ఆ ప్రెషర్ గురించి చాలా మందికి ఐడియా ఉండదు. సో మీరు బిల్డ్ చేసేటప్పుడు కూడా ఐ థింక్ షిప్ హ్యాస్ టు విత్ స్టాండ్ సర్టన్ ప్రెషర్ బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో సబ్మర్జ్డ్, రైట్? కుడ్ యూ ప్లీజ్ ఎలాబొరేట్ ఆన్ దట్, వాట్ డిజైన్ ప్రికాషన్స్ యూ టేక్ or what happened in that oceanic gate?
Briefly, I'll not go details into that because normally incidents I investigate, but when I learn some stupidity happened, then I just take it light there. Ships are off submerged, off afloat, off above the water surface. Okay, there is external pressure depending on the depth. Every 10 meters, the pressure increases by 1 bar.
Okay.
So if it go to 100 meters, that means 10 bar pressure,
Okay.
which is a big pressure. A normal human being cannot, diver cannot take it. Your ears, your head can collapse. That much pressure it is, too high. And testing for any material, any equipment, testing for external pressure is the difficult process. Not difficult, it is practically impossible process. You test for internal pressure, anything. Suppose you make a tank, you pressurize inside to test, okay, not okay, like LPG cylinder. You don't test for external pressure. Normally it is atmosphere pressure, which is nothing. So you don't test that cylinder, LPG cylinder, for external pressure. So like that, this one also, they're not governed by rules, first of all. IMO rules, IMO classification society.
So they don't apply for these submarines?
No, they have rules for merchant vessels which are moving from A to B and all over the world.
Okay.
For 25 years life, 30 years life, 35 years life, across the globe, without restrictions. Those rules are made for that, for commercial ships, passenger ships. But when passenger ships after Titanic, a lot of rules changed with respect to safety equipment, how to save people if the ship is sinking. So that time they thought it is unsinkable, so they didn't think of safety.
Exactly.
They were very arrogant and unsinkable. Here also, okay, we have many times we went down and came up, we saw so many things, nothing is happening. But have you tested anything of that size? It because external pressure depends on, if it is a small thing, external pressure it can take more. If it is a big thing, it cannot take more pressure internally as well as externally.
But how do we test that external pressure?
See, they
how
must
do we
have-
simulate at least?
Some small thing must have gone down to, let's say, 1000 meters.
Okay.
Example, let's say 100 meters. 10 bar it has taken pressure externally. They have experience. Oh, last time we went in that and we have experience. They make it a little thicker, better material, and they are sure. But it is difficult to test such a big thing. How do you test external pressure? You have to make another big thing to make the external pressure. That big thing also has to be tested.
Correct.
So it's a new thing. It's not easy. Not easy. It's impossible. So testing externally is difficult. With experience, they gain. They think, oh, that time we went. But maybe this particular thing was made bigger for more people. Maybe,
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure.
Okay. Okay.
So for the same depth, it cannot take the pressure. It
Okay.
crashes. That's how it is.
Okay.
It's simple. I mean, the possibility. But when it comes to commercial ships, more important is internal pressures for us. Like LNG, the moment if you gas you don't release, it keeps on developing. Like it becomes a pressure cooker. I said while making tea, steam keeps coming out,
Right.
same temperature. I put a pressure cooker, the pressure builds up inside. Temperature also rises. That's why it cooks faster.
Okay.
Rice and dal. So because
What if the temperature system fails? Okay, then that LNG starts forming into gas.
That is why design approval, we look into this. If it happens. It's not called native thinking. We think proactively a possibility technically.
Mhm.
It is a possibility. If you don't think like that, you cannot make planes 100% safe. Millions of people are flying every day without an accident. How safe it is?
Yeah.
Without a failure. That means so much thinking went into design of the aircraft. So much thinking to prevent a possible situation of this failure, that hydraulic leak can cause a plane to come down.
Mhm.
So it's so important to design. People don't realize engineers are working round the clock for safety of people, but they pray to the doctors, oh, you are our God.
I think there has to be very good motivation, to do that.
Yeah.
Because unless you have motivation, you don't do tough jobs like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what motivated you, sir?
See, those days in India, we had very few companies for jobs, first of all. Very few, on fingertips. We were not manufacturing anything. There were no jobs, government jobs meant for politician support. So nobody could get a job in India.
And that is very surprising that, you got a private job, back in 1980s as an engineer.
Yeah.
Because appudu unna engineers anta mostly they work in government PSUs,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe in the irrigation department or electricity department, right? So probably you're the first one I'm coming across who have completed engineering in 1970s. Yeah, 70s. And then you started with a private company, right?
Yeah.
Although you had I think you said you worked for Shipping Corporation of India, right?
Later on, after
After that,
production
okay.
engineer, I joined Shipping Corporation as a mariner, as a
Okay,
fifth engineer.
okay. Mhm.
I started my journey at sea, marine engineer. But that
Okay.
is until 1994 only. After that, I am no more marine engineer. Actually, people still think I am a marine engineer.
Mm.
94 is a long way back.
So what motivated you exactly?
Each individual has a different motivation as a mariner. Each
Mhm.
individual.
Mhm.
There are two departments. One is navigation side, one is engineering side. Each one has different. Some people want to see the places. Some people want to drink and enjoy their life. Some people want to make money.
Mhm.
That time, that was the highest paid compared to even President of India. Then the salary for
Oh,
President
okay.
of India. That was the salaries for mariners actually. But I didn't look at all this. My interest was actually to join training institute itself. I decided, knowing that for a ship to operate, you need all kinds of systems and machinery. Mechanical machinery, electrical, automation, control systems, everything.
Mhm.
My interest has been in all these things. My subject knowledge.
సో మెరైనర్ గా మీరు ఎందుకంటే వెరీ జెనరిక్ టర్మ్, రైట్? మెరైనర్ ఇస్ ఆర్ మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఇస్ వెరీ
Correct.
జెనరిక్ టర్మ్. సో ఈవెన్ వీ వాంట్ టు నో వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ యూ జస్ట్ సెడ్, రైట్? ఎలక్ట్రికల్ సిస్టమ్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే డిఫరెంట్ అదర్ థింగ్స్ యూ మెన్షన్ జస్ట్ నౌ. సో ప్రైమరీగా మీరు స్టార్టింగ్ జూనియర్ ఇంజనీర్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు దేని మీద వర్క్ చేశారు మీరు? అంటే ఏ డిపార్ట్మెంట్లో వర్క్ చేశారు?
Engine department, we call it.
ఇంజన్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్.
Engineers separate and navigating officers separate.
సెపరేట్ ఉంటుంది.
Navigating officers, they are on the bridge to watch outside, to maneuver the ship, like car driver, maneuvering the ship only, their job. But the behind the scene, all the machinery which is running, which is in the engine room, is taken care by engineers by in turns. So
Okay.
we keep watches 4 hours at a stretch and 8 hours off. 4 hours you have to do that, and remaining in between you have to work, do other jobs also. So it's like that.
So engines are powered by diesel, right? If I'm not wrong, or
Yes, engines are powered by diesel and also heavy fuel oil, which is
like bunker oil, they say. Is
yes,
that one?
they
Okay.
call very thick oil. You
Okay.
have to heat the oil to 130 degrees, 40 degrees
Oh,
to
okay.
use it in the engines.
Okay.
Engines are very large, up to 100,000 horsepower.
Wow.
100,000 horsepower. You can imagine your car's engine is so small. Ship engine is 100,000 horsepower. Each nut size is that big.
ఓకే. అంటే మీ జాబ్ డిస్క్రిప్షన్ ఏంటి అక్కడ? మానిటర్ చేయడం బేసిక్గా కదా, అంతే కదా?
Operating. So the maintenance of that machinery, operating, monitoring the machine's running condition, any problems you have to prevent and change over the system. And ship has to be running with the propulsion power.
Okay.
For that, main engine itself requires many auxiliaries. All these we monitor, parameters we monitor, we log them down, and any abnormality we have to identify and we have to solve the problem.
Okay.
Out at sea, nobody is there. It's your life and you have to solve the problem yourself.
ఒక ఇంపార్టెంట్ స్కిల్ ఉండాలి. ఏంటంటే ఐ థింక్ ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎనీ ప్రాబ్లమ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు సాల్వ్ ఇట్. దెర్ ఈస్ నో బడీ ఎల్స్. ఓకే, బికాస్ యూ హ్యావ్ లిమిటెడ్ access first
We
of
have
all.
a couple of engineers actually. Every ship 4 to 5 engineers.
But if you want something, some component,
Yeah,
right,
from
you
that
don't-
angle.
yeah,
Yes, you
yeah.
don't have external assistance.
no external
No.
assistance. So how
Unless you're near the port, somebody can come by boat and do the servicing. But out at sea in Pacific Ocean, nobody.
I think you worked like 14 years as a sailor
Yeah.
before you started working as a design basically, or what should I say, engineering
No,
engineering the ships or reviewing,
managing the ships.
managing the
from
ships.
shore, because you have to manage the ships also. The company
So
owns
in-
some 50 ships, for example. You have to manage the ships by putting people on board, right people on board.
Okay.
And they're operating, they're facing problems, they're reporting every day.
Okay.
You monitor remotely and solve their problems, support them, technical services and technical help and shore help if required, where required. That is called ship management.
Okay.
And I'm involved in ship management for many years that way, troubleshooting as well as ship management in general.
Okay.
That is very key because ships are out at sea all over the world and you
Oh.
have to manage remotely.
Oh.
Not like industry where everything is available, whole world is at your feet. Very easy to run an industry. France has taken over most of the cargo containment systems design. They have developed a lot of experience and expertise. French guys who are supplying our Rafale aircrafts.
Okay. Oh, Rafael.
So,
Okay.
their engineering is good. They give their designs to Korean and Japanese shipyards, Chinese shipyards to build the things. But the quality control they design, they maintain the standards. These people only manufacture those materials
అంటే
as per the specification. Mostly stainless steel, different
steel.
compositions.
Okay.
Nuts and bolts we use 304, and otherwise 316L we call it, stainless steel for the tank materials. So also the specialized material is there, which normally the material is chosen in such a way they don't expand and contract too much.
Okay.
Very little expansion contraction because of the rocket science involved there.
Okay. Okay.
So that is the speciality of design of these tanks.
సో క్రయోజెనిక్ అంటేనే ఆల్మోస్ట్ రాకెట్, క్లోజ్ టు రాకెట్ సైన్స్. ఎందుకంటే
Like
సేమ్
hydrogen
థింగ్ యూ
and
డూ
mines,
ఇట్ ఇన్
correct.
రాకెట్ ఆల్సో, రైట్?
Close to rockets.
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Mhm,
Like
okay.
Chandrayaan. Now during winters, now next 15 days,
ఓకే.
very critical for Chandrayaan. After that, if everything start working, that means we are successful.
రైట్.
We have to wait and cross fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopeful that good will happen.
Because if the material is defective, many people have supplied to Chandrayaan, right?
Okay.
Manufacturers. If one manufacturing unit has made some mistakes in material composition, Chandrayaan can fail. That critical.
So it's not just about ISRO, it's about the suppliers.
Correct.
Their quality standard is very important.
Their engineers, their metallurgists. Is very important for rocket science.
ఓకే. సో ఒక పెద్ద షిప్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయడానికి ఎంత పడుతుంది టైం పీరియడ్?
Depends on the shipyard background and their knowledge and experience. In India, Vizag, they used to take 5 years, 6 years. But in Korea, 6 months, they build biggest ships. In Daewoo Shipbuilding, for example, the way they gained experience and knowledge and expertise.
So you worked for, I think in the offline discussion, you were saying that you worked for top 3 shipbuilders.
Yeah.
Right? I think, could you please, talk about your experience?
See, in the world, initially, Japanese were the biggest shipbuilders in the world. and switch it to change to Korea, South Korea. They have taken over. Now Hyundai Heavy Industries is number one shipbuilder in the world.
Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Okay.
Hyundai, they call it Hyundai. And Samsung Heavy Industries, Daewoo Industries, number 2, number 3 in the world. And Chinese shipyards are there, Chinese designers are there, and Korean shipyards, each shipyard have their own design department. They design the ships, they build the ships based on the specifications signed with the contract by ship owners, between ship owners and the shipbuilders. So this, from there my work start. Like today, I mean, what I've been doing is to review the specifications, review the drawings until design is complete.
Okay.
The ship construction will be supervised at a different team, and ship will be built by shipyard. During the construction, they maintain quality. They will ensure the quality is maintained and built as per the design, approved design. So what I do is design approvals. I look into drawings to see.
You just make sure that everything is as per the standard.
As per the specification, as per the standards, and it is safe to prevent human errors.
Okay.
What can cause human error?
Okay.
So I look into all the aspects of those by reviewing hundreds of drawings of one ship.
Okay.
So I get many projects like that, 15, 20, simultaneously sometimes.
షిప్పింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఇండియాలో బిల్డ్ కావాలంటే, అంటే యాజ్ అలైన్డ్ విత్ మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా పాలసీస్కి అలైన్ కావాలంటే, వాట్ ఇండియా హ్యాస్ టు డూ, వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు డూ, బికాస్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు స్టార్ట్ సమ్వేర్, రైట్? ఈవెన్ దో ఇట్ ఈస్ లేట్, వీ హ్యావ్ టు స్టార్ట్ ఇట్. ఆబ్వియస్లీ బిగ్ కంపెనీస్ హ్యావ్ టు టేక్ ఇట్ ఫార్వర్డ్. ఓకే, రిలయన్స్, టాటా, ఆర్ మేబీ అదర్ బిగ్ గ్రూప్స్. ఓకే, only because they have that much capital.
We can raise also in India, not a problem to raise funds today.
Okay, but somebody has to start it, right? Somebody has to prove that it is also economical, and we can also multiply money with that also.
India lo okappudu ela undadante, నువ్వు ఎంత ఇన్కమ్ ట్యాక్స్ రిటర్న్స్ ఎంత ఉన్నాయో దాన్ని బట్టి లోన్ ఇచ్చేవారు. నేను బయట పనిచేస్తాను సమ్ 4-5 decades. అప్పుడు ఇండియాలో 10,000 నాకు అప్పు కావాలని దొరికేది కాదు. నేను కంపెనీ ఎలా స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాను?
ఓకే,
చెప్పండి. That was a drawback. Now changed. Last couple of years, things are changing very fast. Loans is not a problem today. Sometimes I feel it is too late for me. But I played a backbone role as an advisory role to make ship owners become rich, make people reach highest levels in companies. I've done that. కానీ ఇండియాలో నేను అది ఆ ఛాన్స్ నాకు దొరకలేదు యాక్చువల్గా.
But you would be very happy to do that, if given the opportunity.
Of course.
Yeah.
నాకు ఒకసారి 2000లో ఎవరు అడిగారు, రెడ్డి స్లాబ్స్ ద్వారా సంబడి అడిగారు. అప్పటికి నేను ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఎ ఫుల్ ప్లేజ్డ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ మ్యాటర్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్.
ఓకే,
నాకు అడ్వైజర్ రోల్ రెడ్డి స్లాబ్ అక్కడ వాళ్ళ ఫ్యూచర్ ప్లాన్స్లో జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని నాకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేకుండా, ఐ వాజ్ హ్యావింగ్ ఏ స్టేబుల్ జాబ్ ఇన్ సింగపూర్.
ఓకే,
అది నేను ఆపర్చునిటీ తీసుకోలేదు. మేబీ వాళ్ళు ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేసేవాళ్ళేమో ఆ రోజుల్లో.
ఓకే,
కానీ ఇన్వెస్టర్స్ ఉంటే A to Z షిప్పింగ్ కంపెనీ, ఎనీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ షిప్స్, కాంట్రాక్ట్స్ నుంచి స్పెసిఫికేషన్ నుండి డిజైన్, ప్రొడ్యూసింగ్ షిప్స్, ఆపరేటింగ్ షిప్స్, షిప్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ కంపెనీ, దట్ ఈస్ మై ఎక్స్పర్టీస్. సెటప్ కంపెనీ ఇన్ Germany as well as in Mumbai. Now it has become a very big company. I designed even office, beautiful office.
Okay.
ఆ రోజుల్లో, ఇప్పుడే కాదు, చాలా ఏళ్ళైంది అది.
Okay.
So that is my experience actually in shipping, including insurance. I did course in Sweden.
Okay.
And the shipping insurance is a big thing. India, we don't have any insurance company for shipping. Modi signed some number of ships in China. వాళ్ళని కన్విన్స్ చేశాడు ఆఫ్ ఇండియాలో తయారు చేయాలని. వాళ్ళు ఒప్పుకున్నారు, ఎందుకంటే ఇండియా చేయలేదని వాళ్ళకి తెలుసు. సైనింగ్ అయిపోయింది, మోడీ వెళ్ళిపోయాడు, సైన్ చేశాడు, సౌత్ కొరియాలో వచ్చారు.
ఓకే,
వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఏమైంది, ఇండియన్ షిప్పింగ్ కంపెనీ మేము బిజీగా ఉన్నాము, మేము నేవల్ షిప్స్ తయారు చేస్తాము, 10 ఏళ్ళు అయినా పర్వాలేదు. ఇది కమర్షియల్ షిప్స్, కాంపిటేటివ్ షిప్స్.
ఓకే,
యూ కెనాట్ టేక్ 10 years.
ఓకే,
టోటల్ లాస్.
షిప్పింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఇన్ ఇండియా ఎస్పెషల్లీ, రైట్? మనకి షిప్పింగ్ కార్పొరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఒక పిఎస్సి ఉంది. నాకు తెలిసి అది ఒకటి ఉంది, మేబీ వేరేవి కూడా ఉండొచ్చు. అండ్ ప్రైవేట్లో ఇప్పుడు ఎలా ఉంది మన ఇండియా పరిస్థితి?
ఇండియాలో ద వే మన దేశం ముందుకు వెళ్తుందో, లాట్ ఆఫ్ మనీ ఈస్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద కంట్రీ. డబ్బులకు ఇదేం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. ఆపర్చునిటీ చాలా ఉన్నాయి మన దేశంలో. అంటే మన దేశం హ్యాస్ టు గ్రో టు Western standards, that level. It's a long way to go. Lot of work is there, right? So ఎక్కడ డబ్బులు పెట్టినా మల్టిప్లై చేయొచ్చు. అందుకని వాళ్ళు రిస్క్ తీసుకోవడం లేదు. షిప్పింగ్లో పెట్టి అందులో వస్తే ఆ బిజినెస్ తెలియదు. సో నోబడీ వాంట్స్ టు టేక్ రిస్క్, ఇంక్లూడింగ్ రిలయన్స్ ఇస్ గాన్ స్లోలీ. But Tata's, see, they're not daring to take the decision because their knowledge is limited.
రిలయన్స్ రీసెంట్ గా కంపెనీ
కొన్ని ఎల్ఎన్జి ఎల్పిజి వెళ్ళినట్టున్నాయి, అది కూడా చాలా లిమిటెడ్ గా, బట్ నాట్ దే హావ్ నాట్ స్టార్టెడ్ ఎ బిగ్ షిప్పింగ్ కంపెనీ. వై నాట్? దట్ ఇస్ మై క్వశ్చన్.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ.
Like NYK in Japan, they had close to 1,000 ships. Why? Japan, small country, became number one shipbuilder and number one in economy in the world. So when you're saying make in India, we are going to make so many products in India. We are exporting already. How are they being exported? షిప్పులు పంపిస్తున్నారు. డబ్బులు ఎవరు కడుతున్నారు దానికి? ప్రతి రోజుకి ఇంత ఉంటుంది షిప్పుకు. ఒక్కొక్క షిప్కు so many thousands of dollars. ఇది ఫారెన్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ పోవడం లేదా? పోతుంది. అవి మన షిప్స్ కావు కదా, మనం తయారు చేయలేదు కదా. ఎవరు మాట్లాడరు, ఎందుకంటే ఎవరికి ఆ తెలివి లేదు, ఆ అనుభవం లేదు. తెలియలేదు అంటే ఆ అనుభవం లేదు కాబట్టి వాళ్ళు they don't want to get into that subject. Why Japanese did that? They had to do to save foreign exchange. China did that. Today they have $7 trillion foreign exchange. India $600,000. వాళ్ళ హౌసింగ్ లో $1 trillion పోయింది అంటున్నారు. ఏం పోలేదు. 7 trillion లో 1 పోతే ఏముంది, ఇంకా 6 ఉన్నాయి.
సో మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రీలాన్సర్ లాగా వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారా?
సబ్జెక్ట్ మ్యాటర్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్, యూ కెన్ సే. As subject matter expert, I work for different companies depending on their requirement. They approach me, they give me, we sign everything on emails, our contracts. Just they keep sending online drawings, I keep reviewing, and any changes, if they have to pay some money, they pay, ship owner has to pay. Finally the design will be complete. That means my contract with the company is complete. Then I move on to me. Simultaneously, I'm doing other projects also. I'll be continuing with other projects. So this project will be ready for production. So production will take place in the shipyard in Korea, China, wherever, whichever shipbuilder. But the ship owner may be in Qatar, maybe in some other country, maybe India, maybe Singapore, maybe in America.
సో ఒక మెరైన్ ఇంజనీర్ నుంచి ఈ స్టేజ్ కి అంటే ఎందుకు ఎలా వచ్చారు? ఎందుకంటే నార్మల్ గా అందరూ రారు. లాట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ స్టార్ట్ యాజ్ అ మెరైన్ ఇంజనీర్, ఈవెన్ ఇన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఆల్సో. When they
retire, like my batchmates still sailing, they retire like that.
Okay, so what made you to choose this path, like being a subject matter expert? Because that's not an easy thing to do, even for an engineer.
It so happened after sailing, I was made to sit in Singapore office. I felt a little uncomfortable the way a company being operated to manage ships. So I was stuck in Singapore for 7 years, during which I did many things, actually instrumental in helping build ERP solution for the company. The idea was to prevent blaming culture in the company, and to prevent sacking chief engineers and captain for no mistake of theirs. So I used to believe in data analytics those days. I was really working as a data scientist also on one side. Build up databases. I was administering database and taking the data from the databases into Excel, struggling to make presentations to ship owner, to educate them, and insights to explain to them what kind of ships they should keep, what kind of ships they should sell, and why. Only data could provide that. So that was my job, part of the job, not main job, part of the job. I believed in educating ship owners to make right decisions as to buy right ships, dispose wrong ships, so that you can grow. The ship owner went on to become 400 ships owner today.
Wow. Okay.
But that is a different story.
Okay. మనం నావల్ షిప్స్ మనం తయారు చేస్తున్నాం కదా. ఐ థింక్
అడిగే వాళ్ళు లేరు. మీరు 5 ఏళ్ళు తీసుకోవచ్చు, 10 ఏళ్ళు తీసుకోవచ్చు. అది పెద్ద కష్టమైన పని కాదు. ఎప్పుడైతే కాంపిటీషన్ వస్తుందో, టైం ఫ్రేమ్ వస్తుందో, అక్కడ వస్తుంది ప్రాబ్లం. యూ హావ్ టు హావ్ నాలెడ్జ్ అండ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్.
ఎందుకంటే యూ హావ్ టు మేక్ ఇట్ కాంపిటిటివ్లీ, రైట్? ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ అ మర్చెంట్ షిప్, యూ హావ్ టు సెల్ ఇట్. సో యూ హావ్ టు మేక్.
మనుషులు లేరని కాదు మన దగ్గర. 1.4 బిలియన్ పాపులేషన్. చైనా ఎలా అయింది ఇప్పుడు? నంబర్ 1 షిప్ బిల్డర్స్ ఇన్ ద వరల్డ్. ఎలా అయింది వల్ల? షిప్ బిల్డింగ్ ఈజ్ గవర్నమెంట్ సపోర్ట్ లేకుండా ఎవరు చేయలేరు. ఒక్క డిసడ్వాంటేజ్ ఇన్ ఇండియా ఈజ్ weather is not so conducive to work physically. Shipbuilding requires a lot of manual power, manpower. I mean, labor intensive industry, I should call it.
Adi kuda skilled labor.
Adokka negative point. India climatic conditions along the coast, compared to Korea, Japan, China. Adi main drawback of India. Why they did not become shipbuilding country. We were pioneers in shipbuilding, actually, if you look at the history.
Right.
కానీ అలా అయిపోయింది. మధ్యలో ఏమైందో ఏంటో మనకు తెలియదు. కానీ అయినా వెదర్ అది ఆ కండిషన్ నేను ఒప్పుకోను. అయ్యే అవకాశం ఉంది. ఇప్పుడు మోడీజీ గవర్నమెంట్లో అయ్యే అవకాశం ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు ఎవరిని ఆపరు, అందరికీ సపోర్ట్ చేస్తారు. సో ఇట్స్ ఇండివిజువల్స్ ఏంటంటే భయపడుతున్నారు, వాళ్ళ నాలెడ్జ్ లేక, ఎక్స్పర్టీస్ లేక.
అంటే మీరు ఇంతకుముందు అన్నట్టు చాలా డిసిప్లిన్స్ ఆఫ్ నాలెడ్జ్ కావాలి, ఒక్క దాని గురించి కాదు, రైట్?
అది
మెటీరియల్స్ నుంచి, మెటలర్జీ నుంచి, ఎలక్ట్రికల్ సిస్టమ్స్,
ఇట్స్
పవర్
స్లో
సిస్టమ్స్,
లాంగ్ ప్రాసెస్ టు
hydraulic
లెర్న్
systems.
hydraulics. Very few people in the world manufacture hydraulic. I was designing complete hydraulic system.
అందుకే మనకి ఆక్సిలరీ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ కూడా ఇంపార్టెంట్ మనకి, రైట్? ఒక్క కంపెనీ బిల్డ్ కాదు, ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళకి సబ్ వెండర్స్ కూడా ఇంపార్టెంట్.
ఇనిషియల్ గా ఆక్సిలరీ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ ని ఇంపోర్ట్ చేస్తారు, చైనా నుంచి కానీ, కొరియా నుంచి కానీ, జపాన్ నుంచి, డిపెండ్స్, వేరియస్ కంట్రీస్, ఈవెన్ యూరోప్. దాంతో అసెంబ్ల్ చేసుకుంటూ షిప్లు తయారు చేస్తారు. వైజాగ్ అలాగే చేస్తారు, కమర్షియల్ షిప్ చేసేవాళ్ళు. కానీ 5 years తీసుకుంటే కమర్షియల్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్
నాట్ వైబుల్,
అండ్ యూర్ నాట్ పేయింగ్ టు ద లేబర్ అండ్ దే గో ఆన్ స్ట్రైక్ బికాస్ inefficiently you're building ships instead of 1 year 5 years.
Okay,
so వాళ్ళ salaries 5 times తగ్గిస్తున్నాం కంపేర్ టు ఓవర్సీస్ salaries. సో న్యాచురల్లీ వాళ్ళకు హ్యాపీగా ఉండరు, వాళ్ళు స్ట్రైక్ చేస్తారు. ఇంక 5 years 10 years అవుతుంది అప్పుడు. అది సైకిల్ ఏంటంటే ప్రాపర్ ప్లానింగ్, డిజైనింగ్ అండ్ దెన్ బిల్డింగ్ షిప్ ఇన్ 1 year you can afford to pay 5 times salaries to workers. they'll be very happy. అది మన దగ్గర ఉన్న నెగిటివ్ ఆస్పెక్ట్ అబౌట్ లేబర్ ఇంటెన్సివ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్.
ఓకే,
ముందుకు రాకపోవడం, పైకి రాకపోవడం కారణం
ఓకే,
వన్ ఈజ్ వెదర్ అండ్ అది ఐ డోంట్ కన్సిడర్ దట్ as మెయిన్ థింగ్, but it helps, weather helps.
So private sector has to take it forward.
Third, government backing, because it's essential. There are so many things importing. India's, for example, $10 బయటకు తీయాలంటే బ్యాంక్లో ఉండి too many complications. అది ఉండకూడదు, ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఫ్రీడమ్ ఉండాలి. షిప్పింగ్లో టైమ్ ఈజ్ మనీ.
Okay.
Should be able to order equipment from any source and bring it, and customs regulations, too many regulations they make, and to bring one item from there to here you need minister's phone call. అది అన్ని ఈ బాటిల్ నెక్కింగ్ అంతా తీసేయాలి.
అంటే తగ్గింది అనుకోవట్లేదా ఇప్పుడు ఆ బాటిల్?
తగ్గింది విన్నాను, నేను అనుభవించలేదు కానీ విన్నాను. అది పాత హ్యాబిట్స్ ఇంకా పోవడానికి టైం పడుతుందేమో, కానీ అది చాలా ఫ్రీ చేయాలి. ఎగ్జాంపుల్, మన రోడ్స్ రిపేర్ చేస్తున్నాం, ఇక్కడ ఉన్న రోడ్డు పైనే తార్ వేసేస్తారు. దేర్ ఆర్ మెనీ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ ఇన్ ద వరల్డ్. ఆ ఎక్విప్మెంట్తో ఏంటంటే ముందు స్క్రేప్ చేస్తారు, దానిపైన వేస్తే సేమ్ లెవెల్ ఉంటుంది, లెవెల్ పెరగదు. ఇప్పుడు మాన్యువల్ డోర్స్ కింద ఉంటాయి, లేదా ముందే పైకి పెట్టేస్తాడు వాడు, ఎందుకంటే రోడ్ పైకి వస్తుంది. అది అవసరం లేదు, సేమ్ లెవెల్లో ఉండాలి పర్మనెంట్ త్రూఅవుట్ లైఫ్. 30 years అవుతుంది. ఆ చైర్, ఆ మెషినరీ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేయరు, బికాజ్ కస్టమ్స్ రెగ్యులేషన్స్, ఆ డబ్బులు ఎవరు పెట్టాలని చెప్పి కాంట్రాక్టర్స్ ఎవరు అది ముట్టుకోరు ఆ మిషన్స్ తెప్పించడానికి. గవర్నమెంట్ షుడ్ ఎంకరేజ్ ఆల్ దిస్ ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ ఇంపోర్ట్ చార్జెస్, బ్రింగ్ దెమ్. టూల్స్ ఉంటే మన ఇండియాలో 1.4 billion పాపులేషన్ కెన్ డూ వండర్స్ టు బిల్డ్ అవర్ కంట్రీ. ఆ టూల్స్ రావాలంటే బయట నుంచి రావాలి. జర్మనీ ఈజ్ ఎ వెరీ గుడ్ టూల్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరర్, జాపనీస్ ఆర్ దేర్. ఎక్కడ దొరికితే అక్కడ తెప్పించుకోండి. అంతేగాని ప్రతిదానికి కస్టమ్ రూల్స్, కస్టమ్ డ్యూటీస్ అని పెట్టేస్తే మనం ముందుకు వెళ్ళడం చాలా కష్టం. షిప్ బిల్డింగ్ చాలా కష్టం. సో మచ్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ హెస్ టు కమ్ ఫ్రమ్ అవుట్ సైడ్ అంటిల్ వీ స్టార్ట్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్.
సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు టేక్ దిస్ ఇన్ స్టెప్స్. అదే కదా మీరు అనేది, ఎందుకంటే ఫస్ట్
it's a major decision from the government angle.
Yeah, I mean we should freely import those things, and then and we have to start it somewhere. Maybe we'll start with assembling, right? Doing manaki idi
that's
ship dismantling services edo antaru.
For example, car manufacturing, you see, that's how we are doing. Everything is automated, so it's easy to manufacture. That's why we become very good in car manufacturing. Okay, it's not labor intensive. Everything is done in air conditioned spaces, so very easy. Everybody is doing nicely. Everything is automated. Shipbuilding is a lot of manual labor, and you learn things, handling huge things, heaviest things, and it takes long time.
Okay,
the way flyovers initially they used to take years, now months they finish flyovers. So shipbuilding also
adi capacity building undali, right? Adi capacity building
experience build up cheyali mellimelliga. Labor training, skill development, అందులో skill development. Welding, we can develop many welders in the country. We don't need education for that.
సో కమింగ్ టు ద వెల్డింగ్, ఓకే, ఎందుకంటే వెల్డింగ్ అంటే చాలా మంది ఈజీ జాబ్ అనుకుంటారు. ఈ షిప్ బిల్డింగ్ కి సంబంధించి వెల్డింగ్ ఏదైనా సపరేట్ గా, ఐ థింక్ దెర్ ఆర్ ప్రొఫెషన్ ఇన్ వెల్డింగ్ ఫర్ షిప్ బిల్డింగ్, రైట్?
Nowadays, most of the things are automatic, made automatic. The entire welding takes place automatically.
Okay.
But a lot of manual welding is required. But welding actually is a skill development. It's the knowledge, is not the intelligence. So the less educated you are, the less intelligent you are better welder. Because you should not think when you are welding. If you are a thinker, you cannot be a welder.
Skill important అంటారు.
Intelligence కష్టమైన పని కాదు. మన దగ్గర పవర్ ప్లాంట్ బిల్డ్ చేయడానికి ఒక 4-5 years ago, you know what was the problem in India to build power plants? Welders దొరకడం లేదు. చైనీస్ నుంచి తీసుకురండి, వాళ్ళ వీసా గురించి months.
Okay.
అప్పుడు ఏంటి ప్లాంట్ టేక్స్ అనదర్ 6 months delay. 6 months delay, this money, how much money you invested, 6 months interest, who has to pay? Because of the visa delay for Chinese welders to come and work in India.
Okay.
ఇలాంటివన్నీ ఒకదానికి ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. మన దగ్గర అన్ని బ్యూరోక్రసీ ప్రొసీజర్స్ ప్రతి దగ్గర డిలే చేశారు. ఈ కస్టమ్స్లో ఎన్ని వీసాస్ గురించి సింగపూర్లో ఉన్న ప్రతి మనిషి వాళ్ళ పాస్పోర్ట్తో ఏ కంట్రీకైనా వెళ్ళొచ్చు, 6 నెలలు ఉండొచ్చు, వీసా అవసరం లేదు వాడికి. మనకెందుకు అవసరం ఇది? మన ఐడెంటిటీ లేదు. ఆధార్ గురించి నేను 2008లో రికమెండ్ చేశాను గవర్నమెంట్కు, ఎన్డీటీవీ బర్గాత్కు రాశాను నేను. అండ్ త్రూ కాంగ్రెస్ లీడర్స్ ఇన్ హైదరాబాద్ ఇట్ వాస్ టేకెన్ టు శామ్ పిట్రోడా అండ్ రాహుల్ గాంధీ. దే కన్విన్స్డ్ సోనియా గాంధీ అండ్ మన్మోహన్ సింగ్. దెన్ దే పుట్ యూనిక్ ఐడి సిస్టమ్ ఇన్ ఇండియా. అది నేను రాసిన మెయిల్స్ నా దగ్గర ఉన్నాయి, చూపిస్తాను మీకు.
ఓకే.
ఎందుకు రాశాను అది? తాజ్లో అంతమంది చనిపోయారు. ఎందుకైంది? మనకు ఆధార్ ఇది ఉండి ఫింగర్ అండ్ ఐరిష్ వెరిఫికేషన్ ఉంటే కసబ్ అందులో ఉండేవాడు మెషిన్ గన్తో. వీ కూడా ప్రివెంటెడ్ దట్, రైట్? కానీ ఆధార్ని అంత ఆథెంటికేషన్ చేయడం లేదు ఇప్పటికి కూడా. ఆధార్ ఈజ్ వెరీ ఎసెన్షియల్. వీ కెన్ డూ వండర్స్. వీ కుడ్ have sold the technology to the world and made trillions of dollars.
I think that's what they are doing right now with UPI also, right? UPI is a great success
now
right
they're
now.
doing, but Aadhaar identity.
Yeah.
Today, with my passport, I should be able to go to any country. I cannot go. Why I need visa? Because my identity is not there.
Yeah.
Government of India cannot give guarantee. This man, we have the details, we can catch him.
ఒకటి పాపులేషన్,
అది అవసరం.
ఇంకొకటి
పాపులేషన్ చైనాలో లేరా మనకు అలా? అది ఐ డోంట్ అగ్రీ విత్ దట్. పాపులేషన్ నో ఎక్స్క్యూజ్.
ఓకే.
ఇది లాంగ్ టర్మ్ థింకింగ్ ఇస్ రిక్వైర్డ్. 1000 సంవత్సరాలు ఆలోచించాలి. ఏ ప్లానింగ్ ఏ చేసినా 1000 సంవత్సరాలు. మనం రోడ్డు ఈ రోజు కోసమే చేస్తాం, రేపటి కోసం కాదు. దానికి లాట్ ఆఫ్ విజువలైజేషన్ ఇస్ రిక్వైర్డ్.
ఓకే.
లాట్ ఆఫ్ విజన్, ఇమాజినరీ సిచ్యుయేషన్ నెక్స్ట్ 100 years. వేర్ ఆర్ వీ గోయింగ్ టు బి ఇన్ ఇండియా విత్ దిస్ పాపులేషన్? రోడ్స్ ఎంత వెడల్పు ఉండాలి, రోడ్స్ ఎలా ఉండాలి? ఎక్కడ ఈవెన్ కొత్త టౌన్షిప్లో కూడా ఇప్పుడు హైదరాబాద్లో చూడండి ఎలా ఉన్నాయి రోడ్స్, లేన్స్ ఎంత విడుతుంది. చైనాలో చూడండి స్మాల్ టౌన్లో 8 lanes ఉంటాయి ఒక్కొక్క రోడ్. ఆ రోడ్ క్రాస్ చేయాలంటే భయం వేస్తుంది, ఎందుకంటే ఫ్రీగా వెహికల్స్ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ ఎట్ హై స్పీడ్, నో స్పీడ్ బ్రేకర్స్. మన దగ్గర ఎక్కడ చూసినా స్పీడ్ బ్రేకర్లు. ఎందుకని మనం ఆలోచించడం లేదు? ఎందుకంటే డిసిప్లిన్ లేదు. డెమోక్రసీ ఈజ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. డిసిప్లిన్ డెమోక్రసీ ఈజ్ ఎసెన్షియల్ ఫర్ అస్ టు గ్రో ఇన్ ఎ వెరీ సిస్టమాటిక్ వే, to grow to any level, beat the world. But without discipline, don't misuse the word of democracy. I had more freedom in China than in India. Let me tell you honestly.
Okay.
నేను మొన్న ప్లాటినం ముందు కారు నాకు ఫైన్ వేస్తాడు 1000 rupees. అక్కడ ఏం బ్లాక్ చేయడం లేదు, 4 vehicles పెట్టచ్చు, ఇంకా నాకు 1000 rupees వేస్తాడు. చైనాలో నాకు ఐ వాజ్ నెవర్ ట్రీటెడ్ లైక్ దాట్.
ఓకే.
అది డిఫరెన్స్. డెమోక్రసీ అంటే మనం ఎలా వాడాలి, ఎంత డిసిప్లిన్తో ఉండాలి, ప్రతి ఒక్కరు డిసిప్లిన్ ఫాలో అవుతే మన దేశం చాలా ముందుకు వెళ్తుంది. ఎవరు ఆపలేరు మనం. 600 million యూత్, వెరీ పవర్ఫుల్ యూత్, హైలీ ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్. స్కిల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ల్యాకింగ్. ఎందుకు ల్యాకింగ్ చెప్తాను మీకు. బ్రిటిషర్స్ మనకు నేర్పింది ఏంటంటే బాసిజం అంటే చేతులతో పనిచేస్తే బాస్ అవరు. అది మన వాళ్ళు నేర్చుకున్నారు. అది మెల్లిగా బ్యూరోక్రాట్స్ ద్వారా అందరు నేర్చుకున్నారు. అలా చేతులు మెల్లిగా ఒక పనిని 5 నిమిషాల్లో అవ్వాల్సింది 5 రోజులు తీసుకుంటే మనకు విలువ ఉంటుంది. 5 నిమిషాలది 5 నెలలు తీసుకుంటే విలువ ఉంటుంది. అలాంటి అందరు నేర్చుకున్నారు. మన దేశంలో 1.4 billion పాపులేషన్. దాన్ని మార్చాలంటే ఎంత కష్టం.
ఒక సోషల్ చేంజ్ కావాలి. సోషియాలజీ సోషల్ చేంజ్.
రెస్పెక్ట్ మాన్యువల్ లేబర్ అండ్ బిలీవ్ ఇన్ దట్ మాన్యువల్ లేబర్. నేను మా కార్ది నట్టున బోట్ని ఓపెన్ చేస్తున్నానంటే వాళ్ళు అనుకుంటారు వీడు మెకానిక్ చేస్తున్నాడని. నాది చూస్తుంటారు చాలామంది, ఇక్కడ చూశాను, మన దేశంలో కూడా చూశాను. దాంట్లో తప్పేముంది చేతులతో పనిచేయడంలో? అది పోవాలి ఫస్ట్ థింగ్. అది పోతే మన దేశం ఎవరు ఆపలేరు ఇంకా. అది బ్రిటిషర్స్ వదిలిపెట్టి వెళ్ళిపోయారు ఇంగ్లీష్తో పాటు.
వాళ్ళు కూడా మారారు యాక్చువల్గా.
వాళ్ళు ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్, మన వాళ్ళు నేర్చుకొని అది ఇంకా హై లెవెల్కి తీసుకెళ్లారు.
ఐ థింక్ యూ సెడ్ వన్ రైట్ థింగ్, బ్యూరోక్రసీ నుంచి ఇదంతా స్ప్రెడ్ అయింది. I think private companies are changing it right now. I think you don't see that kind of a thing in a private company right now, especially in the corporate. Everyone is at least treated equally.
గవర్నమెంట్లో కూడా అథారిటీ అనే వర్డ్ మార్చేసి నేను రాశాను ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ లాంగ్ బ్యాక్ 2015లోనే రాశాను.
ఓకే.
నేను చాలా 36 పాయింట్. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద పాయింట్ ఈస్ దిస్, ఇది అథారిటీ అనే వర్డ్ తీసేసి రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ అని పెట్టారు. నేను ఇప్పుడు పాస్పోర్ట్ ఆఫీసరు, హెడ్ ఆఫ్ ద పాస్పోర్ట్ ఆఫీసర్, అయితే 3 daysలో పాస్పోర్ట్ వాడి ఇంటికి వెళ్ళాలి. వీ డోంట్ కేర్ వాట్ యూ డూ అని నేను ఒక రూల్ పెడితే యాజ్ ఎ ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఎందుకు రాదు? కరప్షన్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది చెప్పండి మీరు? అవదా? అది అవుతుంది, అది అవుతుంది. మా డాటర్ చేసింది 3 రోజులు వచ్చింది తన ఇంటికి పాస్పోర్ట్. ఎలా అయింది ఇప్పుడు? అలాంటిది ప్రతి డిపార్ట్మెంట్లో పెడితే అప్పుడు కరప్షన్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది? అది లేదు. అథారిటీ అని చెప్పి రిజిస్టర్ చేస్తాడు ల్యాండ్ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్. నో, ఈజ్ నాట్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ ఎనీథింగ్, జస్ట్ సైన్స్. పాన్ తింటూ నవ్వుతూ సైన్ చేస్తుంటాడు. ఒకరోజు ఆ పెళ్ళాం పేపర్స్ని ఎవడో ల్యాండ్ని మార్చుకున్నాడు, ఈయనకు తెలియదు, రాంగ్ వేలో సైన్ చేస్తాడు, అయిపోయి ల్యాండ్ మారిపోయింది. అలా చేస్తున్నారు మన వాళ్ళు. దే ఆర్ నాట్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్. నో గవర్నమెంట్ అఫీషియల్ ఈజ్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఇన్ అవర్ కంట్రీ. అది రూట్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రాబ్లం. అథారిటీ అయిన వర్డ్ బదులు రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ అని తీసుకొస్తే అన్నీ మారుతాయండి, చాలా మారుతుంది మన దేశం.
సో ఎనీ ప్రౌడెస్ట్ మూమెంట్ that you have for the work that you have done?
There are a couple of things. One is in Singapore office, when I was working, I mentioned to managing director, we need a big dashboard to show all ships locations, where they're going from where to where is the position on that day. I was told, you have very high vision, we can't afford. That was way back in 1994.
Okay.
System,
94
even emails were not in place that time.
Okay.
So that was my thinking. Then I worked towards that. When some software company was dumped on our company in Singapore from London, parent company in London. So I looked at it, I said, let us get into it. On the side, that was not my main profession. My main thing is troubleshooting, monitoring entire fleet. So I was involved in the software side. That unique ID is very essential. I believed in that, and that's where I started. We completed that. The Greeks have taken a lot of time in developing that. One of the two modules became world best also, but my lot of inputs went from my side.
Okay.
The idea was, ship from the day it is delivered into sea, we start operating. Throughout its life, we should be able to monitor where that ship was every day. Who was the crew on that ship? The idea is to monitor even incidents. Any sabotage was done, if the same crew member was here and similar incident happened, that means some sabotage took place. Okay. So incident investigation was also useful, and also monitor the ship, how the weather conditions ship faced, and what kind of cracks happened and why it happened. Okay. To analyze the failures and breakdowns. Finally, in 2000, the software was ready. On each computer, we could see the entire fleet by click of a one 4-letter code. That unique code I gave, 4-letter code it was, for every ship. So just type in the code and date. From that day to this day, complete thing will come on the world map on your screen, where the ship was every day, what speed she was making, what fuel consumption, what emissions, how much carbon dioxide is emitted. Everything can be shown on the screen. Wow. By one ship or any ship, all ships. You can see.
So you did this for that shipping company.
And I quit the company after that, because I achieved my vision, my dream.
Okay.
And that happened. Then I went into new buildings, construction, supervision on the spot in China. During SARS time, I was in China. I escaped from SARS. And Korea, I worked, and construction. Then I was into design when I was called to Dubai by Dubai company. They had many projects. They wanted to become 100 ship owners.
Okay.
They were financially very rich. Financial crash in the world, 2008 crash, and really made them bleed.
Okay.
And I had to move back to India and again go to Korea on the ship building side. So during that time, when we had 42 projects, I was involved in chemical tanker design approvals. From concept to delivery, I was in charge. Not one chemical tanker, many chemical tankers, many other tankers, many other ships being designed and built in China, in South Korea and in Japan. I was in charge. Single-handedly, I was managing. Japanese were shocked. They thought we are 50 people. But when they learned that only Reddy-san is working there, then they were shocked that they didn't talk for 2 minutes.
Okay.
And that is the time, this particular chemical tanker, I was doing design approvals. I made a lot of changes. Normally, you make changes based on if the design is not complying to some rules or specifications. But I'm changing to prevent human errors. Also, human beings getting penalized in the US courts and other places.
Okay.
So I made a lot of changes. The designers went crazy. Why I'm changing? I given explanations. I made them change. They charged us $70,000. Japanese shipyard charged us $120,000 for the changes, the proposed changes. The owners agreed. They given me full freedom. I wanted to build ships which are operator friendly and nobody will go to prisons. We don't pollute sea with oil.
So why do ship operators go to prison? Because we don't know
because the ship is not designed that way. You're compelled to pump oil into sea.
What kind of oil?
Because on the ship engine room, you have a lot of oily water collection every day from leaks and from other sources they come.
So
The ships were designed for decades and decades like that. I made changes in such a way that oil and what everything is separated in a different way. Different extra equipment were fitted, tanks were fitted, pumps were different. So ultimately, you pump only distilled water into sea.
Wow.
That is to prevent pollution of seas, and nobody will go to jail. Earlier, they were doing it, but they were not getting caught.
Okay.
Okay, even during my time, during sailing time. So that was my concept, but I had to make ship owner pay for it. So what is my loss? My bonuses, because I'm making them pay, right? Spend money.
Yeah.
So but idea is to achieve the good design.
Okay.
But today all shipyards have made it standard. IMO has given guidelines. After that ship Emirates Star became world best in 2008. The shipyard was building many similar ships already delivered, but when I was involved, I made 145 changes, close to 145 changes
for the ship
to
Emirates
prevent Emirates Star.
Okay.
And sister ships followed by that. When I changed the classification society, earlier they approved many designs of same type. They thought it is mechanical, but when they realized so many changes, they had to reapprove. Then they referred these changes to Royal Institute of Naval-Nautics, London. They reviewed, these are all essential to prevent the human errors. There are no rules for that human error prevention. Then they adjudged the ship as a significant ship built in year 2008. Ship name is Emirates Star.
Okay.
You can see on the internet.
Okay.
I was in charge, so I can take the credit today. I never used to talk about this in the past, but since you raised this question, the best project, memorable project, I should say.
So you were also talking about IMO, International Monitor. So
I'm
what
talking
exactly?
About this, the oily separation.
Okay.
On that ship, this was one of the criteria of changes. Many changes I made. This was one of the main criteria which all shipyards are following even today. All shipyards in Japan, Korea and China. Because IMO stepped in, took all these ideas, made guidelines and made rules after about 5-10 years.
Wow.
Not immediately.
Wow. Of course.
After that ship became world best. This ship became world best, and then they realized, everybody followed, what is the difference between other ships and this ship? The difference is this prevention of human errors. So that is a proud moment for me, because normally it doesn't happen, because I made ship owners spend so much extra money.
And okay, international standards organization, I mean, of course, that is also regulatory, right?
Become much later, no? Like India also, any rule comes much later after so many things happen. But we proactively, are we bringing any rule? No. To prevent an accident, are we bringing any rules proactively? No. After seeing thousands of accidents, we bring one rule.
But that is really very encouraging, because your whatever suggestions you made, they are adopted to the code also.
I keep watching that, then I wonder, okay, it's working.
Okay.
I'm so proud of it. It's being improved also.
Okay.
In some shipyards I've seen design, little bit improvement made compared to what I started with. Ultimate goal is not to pollute. That is the biggest concern in maritime industry even till today. How to make maritime industry carbon emission free, zero emission. And I've been doing research on that, including I considered nuclear, because I've done research on the nuclear power plants, which is easy to operate by ship operators, but it is not safe from a, what I should say, sabotage angle.
Okay.
That's why we may not be able to use nuclear in ships.
Yeah, only some naval ships are these big.
They have thousands of people to safeguard. Merchant ships, the safeguarding is very difficult. They go to every port in the world. Anywhere it can be sabotaged. So that is a concern. But I considered that option also. For ships, so that you can decarbonize entire maritime industry. It's a big achievement in the world. I've been doing research on that. Various fuels. Even the government is worried, IMO is worried, and classical societies are worried. Ship owners are worried. What kind of fuel? And for time being, LNG. I proposed actually 3.5 years to my previous ship owners. They ordered many ships with LNG as fuel. LNG as a fuel, much cleaner emissions.
Compared to
not
diesel,
zero carbon emission, but much cleaner emission.
Because that's still a fossil fuel.
But the problem is LNG ships, they come to India. How will they bunker? We don't have LNG facility to bunker LNG. Bunker means fueling the ship. How will you fuel? Where will you fuel? Indian ports are not ready.
So infrastructure
we are making India,
has to
we're
be
becoming big. 5 trillion tomorrow, 25 trillion economy. So where is that strength of supplying LNG fuel to LNG ships which are coming to India? Even we have to build. That's why Shipping Corporation of India is not prepared for that. Being a government company like Air India is suffering and struggling. Because of the government support, they survive. Competitive world, they can't survive.
I think we can take one important point for us, actually, not for the for any industry, in fact. So whenever we are making a design, it has to consider deficiencies from humans also, whatever their
Yeah.
behavior,
Yeah.
the
Rules-
mistakes that people do, human errors in that angle.
Can I
Okay.
give you example?
Please.
You take apartments. We have steps, sometimes two staircases, many 10 steps, then little landing, then 10 steps. For an average person to climb like that is not good for heart.
Mhm.
It should not be more than 6-7 steps. Around the lift, if you put it these steps, every 6 steps you have a landing. It is good for climbing up and climbing down.
Mhm.
That should be a rule, but it does not happen because they're not thinking how to prevent heart attacks.
Okay.
How to why you give landing after 10 steps? Basically to give some rest to heart.
All right. Okay.
That if you give after 6 steps, how good for heart? Around the lift only you can do.
Right.
You don't have to do a special design. That should be a rule. I mean, if I'm in the government, I would do that.
Right. So you're saying engineers don't get recognition,
Yes.
what they deserve.
Recently, they got recognition after Chandrayaan went to Chandrayaan. Until then, nobody got recognition. Unfortunate. The entire world population is enjoying today the benefits of engineering and engineers. Everything that is made, everything you are using, the comfort of air conditioning system. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, ex-Prime Minister of Singapore, mentioned the invention of air conditioning system is the thing for Singapore's growth, and what is Singapore today is because of air conditioning designed by some engineers. That credit only Lee Kuan Yew gave, but nobody talks in the world.
Correct.
So that's why I'm proud of the technology. I'm passionate about technology. That is why I went into marine industry. I learned a lot in marine industry of all kinds of systems. Those days with not so much of electronics, all relay systems. Now PCBs and motherboards, CPUs, all came.
So you just mentioned that you are still learning even today, to this day, about data science.
Yeah.
So what
Okay.
keeps you
Data science I'm doing because 1994-95, when I saw many chief engineers being sacked, saying that these idiots are not able to operate the ship. What is the proof? There has to be some evidence. There has to be something. Started thinking quietly, and somehow I was allowed to develop a database in DBase 3 with the help of a Chinese programmer. It took 6 months. I gave specifications, but it is matter of 6 days. I learned during my vacation. I didn't come to India. I attended classes. I learned DBase 3. Then the Fox Pro, we changed it to Fox Pro. It was not Y2K compliant.
Okay.
Then I started extracting data from Fox Pro. Even today, they are using Fox Pro.
Okay.
The idea was how do you compare ships, how they were performing before, how they're performing today, which ship is better, which ship should be sold, what kind of ship should be bought. This ship owner needs, right? So I developed that software. The bottom line is, in terms of dollars, whether the vessel is underperforming or overperforming, it gives the report. The data I designed and made ships to report every day. It was fed in manually in the beginning, later on automatic. So there it gives the ins, and the data comes in. Then I used to bring it to Excel, make graph. It used to take 1 day those days. Microsoft is learning Excel that time. So I used to take 1 day. Now today in 1 minute I can make dashboards. So the data started there. Okay. Now same database they're using today, because the bottom line was metric tons of fuel consumed by a particular ship for carrying 1 metric ton of cargo per 1 nautical mile distance. In sea distance we call nautical mile, which is 1.852 kilometers. That parameter today, IMO later on came with a rule that every ship owner in the world has to report the carbon emission from the ship. All that you need is multiply by a factor with this parameter. It will give carbon emission by the ship every day. So the entire fleet carbon emission, the ship owner can report to IMO today using that database which I built up.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, that credit I can take. Now when I come to data science చేస్తే నేను పైథాన్ నేర్చుకున్నది, నేను జాబ్ వదిలిపెట్టి వచ్చాక అది వేరే స్టోరీ. పైథాన్ నేనే నేర్చుకున్నాను, అందులో ట్యాబ్లూ నేర్చుకున్నాను, ఎక్సెల్ ఐ మాస్టర్డ్. ఇవన్నీ నేర్చుకున్న తర్వాత why not I become data scientist, properly doing some projects. And you can analyze data, because the Aadhaar, as I said, unique ID 2008 I had made recommendation. So much data is being accumulated. We can generate and analyze data to see, in the country we have various types of food we are eating in different locations, different food, different climatic condition, what disease is prevailing. We can analyze the root cause of the disease and prevent it elsewhere. So if I don't do data analysis, same thing, there is a data available for Titanic sinking. how many people died from this deck, how many women died, how many children died. There is a lot of data. I import that, I import into pandas, I analyze, and the insights of the data, the reports, I'll be able to explain because I'm a mariner.
Okay, yeah, right.
So the domain knowledge when you have,
So it
it is
needs
much
two
easier.
knowledge, intersection of two domains.
Correct.
Okay, one is maritime knowledge.
Suppose
the
I
other
have
one is-
knowledge, but I don't have the knowledge of data science, data analytics. I can't bring in insights. The guy who is good at this, he doesn't know the domain knowledge. He cannot give insights. So you cannot make a right decision.
So it's amazing that you're still learning, you know, even to this day, and you're learning coding like Python, you said, right?
Yeah.
And other technologies also.
Last night I was working until 2. Last 10 days I've been working until 2
Okay.
on
Wow.
assignments.
Wow.
I do a lot of Googling also. I do a lot of stuff, and I'm not convinced logically. I will not even code it. Maybe available in Google, but I will not code it unless I'm fully convinced logically it is correct.
So you build your own things.
That's why I'm learning Java on my own also.
Okay.
I want to one day make one beautiful software on my own, actually.
Wow.
That is the goal of learning Java. Many other languages I learned, but never practiced, never worked on projects. That was not my core profession. I'm a maritime industry.
So you're learning only out of your enthusiasm and passion. That's it.
I was interested in my final year. We had Fortran 4 high level language. That time no calculator we were using. I had to write coding on a paper.
Fortran.
That's
IBM's one, right?
Fortran 4.
Okay.
That was introduced to us in engineering final year.
Okay.
From that time, digital.
Obviously, you didn't have computers,
computer
right?
science. We had analog and digital books were there. I was very passionate about that learning. In 1991, I bought my first laptops. Ever since, before that, I bought my typewriter in the US from a second-hand shop.
Okay.
In Seattle to practice typing, because this skill is essential to learn things fast and practice things fast. I bought 16 laptops in 2017 to train in India our engineering students for typing skills as well as Excel, but nobody was showing interest. I published a lot of money I spent, but no interest, because they want to see what certificate you will get and what salary we will get.
Wow.
But I believed in that. I practiced. And from 91, I've been using laptops, man. I learned hardware as well as software. CCNA I learned. Okay. On the networking side, I don't depend on anybody for my internet connection, Wi-Fi, as well as wide connection, IP addressing.
So you do your own things, your own troubleshooting.
I never depend on anybody. I use many laptops, but I can use any laptop here today because everything on the one drive. All laptops, desktops are common. You need one laptop problem, I take other one and start working in Starbucks. I spent all my life in Starbucks learning and working. You asked me one project, that project when I was called from China for Brazilian project, conversion project. My managing director knew, he was my colleague in 1994. I was called back in 2011 to Singapore. I came back second innings. Mm-hmm. And this project, we did wonders actually. Within 1 week, we ordered $50 million equipment offhand. I'm talking and he's ordering, managing director. Okay. He said, when we completed the project, he said, Reddy-san, how he had 27 projects experience. But he was wondering how I managed this entire thing. Not even one thing changed. When we tested, everything was passed. Without changing one line, one wall, one machinery, nothing. Okay. The design was so perfect. Conceptually, my design was perfect. Wow. Okay. So that's why I say conceptual design, I'm very good at the entire ship. Okay. Same time, I was given another assignment where we had a design competition, French company. 100 French engineers reviewed our drawings. Samsung was doing drafting. Mm-hmm. I was giving conceptual design of 30-40 systems. And we submitted a design for remote controlled FSO in North Sea for a Norwegian company.
Could you please explain what is FSO? I know we discussed
floating storage afterwork vessel, which stores oil, crude oil coming from seabed, stores on the tanker. That stored oil is separated from the salts and seawater and clean crude oil, I should say.
So basically the big storage vessels.
Storage vessels. And also it separates and then processes certain things and then sends it to other tankers, pumps it to other tankers carry to refineries. Okay. So this storage tanker design, they wanted remote control. In North Sea, weather conditions are very tough. They wanted a FSO there, stationed with
North
anchor.
Sea is on the top of UK, right?
Yeah, UK. Northeast of UK.
Northeast.
Norwegian people, they wanted only few people will be on board, just watchmen. They don't do anything, but it will be controlled from shore station, and very
What filtering and
never
pumping
happened in
also.
the world, any marine vessel controlled from shore, and will be repaired from shore. Everything will be stored here. Helicopters, they'll go and repair and come back.
Okay.
Otherwise it should be fully automatic, remote controllable. I was involved. We made a remote controllable FSO design, 42 drawings reviewed by 50 French engineers, and very few comments. We addressed those comments, we passed. Nobody else was involved except myself and Samsung Heavy Industries in Korea. I stayed in Samsung hotel for 3 months to finish the design. The company got $6 million paid for passing the design competition.
Wow. So Samsung hired you.
Not Samsung. My company only. We hired Samsung to make the drawings. As I said, drafting is different. Conceptual design is different. Okay. Design approval is different. Okay. These two I am doing. Okay. This drafting done by Samsung. The Samsung project manager told all their designers, why you people are crying? All the thinking he is doing sitting in the hotel until 2 o'clock in the night, every day is working. You people are doing drafting. What is the problem with you? You are doing clerical work, but he has done the mental work. So that's how, but that we passed. We got 6 million paid. Company got 6 million paid for that design, passing the design competition, which is a remote controllable FSO. Never happened in the world. Even
ఎవరైనా యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారా సేమ్ డిజైన్?
they tried, and they, because of the cost of the new vessel was more, they gave it to somebody for converting a vessel, and I think it's not complete. That project almost delayed by decade. Not decade. Decade. They were sending gas through the subsea pipeline. And we were getting gas, and that with that gas we were running almost zero emission vessel, just to tell you. Not only remote control, zero emission criteria. That is a concept I applied in around 2012-13. Now we are talking about decarbonizing. World is going, sitting and having meetings.
Now there is more awareness now, right? After
how many years? Why it's so late?
So you're saying you started all these things well before they were publicized or popularized, right?
I knew what was coming. It is not healthy. Pollution is not healthy. Like in India also, we are not very sensitive to noise. Noise pollution is the worst. Air pollution is the second. Water pollution is the third. Food pollution is the fourth. If these four are there, you don't need hospitals, you don't need medical, pharmaceutical industry. You create other jobs to develop the country. Not create pharmaceutical industry, medical hospitals, doctors and nursing homes. No need. Testing labs. I come to that health point to prove many doctors what I have done, no doctor could have done in the world. I have done to reverse my to manage my diabetic very healthy way, without tablets, without eating everything possible, maintaining constant weight.
See, materials లో క్యావిటీస్ డిటెక్ట్ చేయడానికి అలా ఏదైనా సో దాని మీద కూడా మీరు ఫోకస్ చేస్తారా అంటే మెయింటెనెన్స్ అప్పుడు?
Actually, there are different aspects of ship. One is manufacturing machinery and other materials by different manufacturers. That quality is maintained under rules and regulations by classified societies. There are guidelines from IMO, which is body of United Nations, and they are managed. So these are also further rules are made by classified societies, big societies in the world, in London, in US, in India also we have IRS. So they make rules, their own rules. During the building of ships, these rules have to be followed. So all the materials manufactured, machinery manufactured should comply to the rules. They are used on the ship. So as long as they are taken care, our job during design is to make sure that the systems are designed so that their ship can be operated. The integration of various materials and equipment is our job. Many vendors will be there, thousands suppliers to the ship. During the construction, from one plate, quality of that plate inspection we carry out as a supervisor. Until ship is complete, all the machinery fitted, tested, ship moved into sea as a sea trial, 4-5 days. We carry out at full power. Then we come back. That means everything ready. Now normal ship crew takes the ship and starts sailing.
So what qualities you brought? You reused professional qualities into your personal life.
See, basically one of the most important thing, root cause analysis for every problem, every incident. I learned to do that. That is like exercising your brain on a day-to-day basis. It's always essential. If you don't exercise your brain, it just becomes dull. Like copper utensil, if you don't clean it, it will become dull. Same thing with the brain. And right from childhood, I learned to keep it sharp by exercising my brain hours together, sometimes days together. That is one of the things I practiced. Other things I practiced is learn to observe, learn to appreciate. These two essential skills. When you observe, when you appreciate, that means you're looking at good things. When you appreciate, and it gets registered in your brain. So you learn a lot of good things in life, which you can apply in design criteria, design, conceptual design, or putting good things. So when I've experienced in the world by going to 100 different countries, different cities, visiting and observing things, how they develop. Like Shanghai, maglev train, without touching the tracks, it goes at 340 kilometers per hour to the airport. I traveled just to experience that. Metro system in Shanghai, so many lanes. Without asking anybody, you can go from A to any, change three different lanes, and you can reach the destination without talking to them in Chinese or English. You can reach. Everything is put on the floor only. While walking, you can read and go. Don't have to look where is the board. That is the design criteria. So that never done. So I observed that good things, when you learn to appreciate good things, you will remember also.
Right.
Then you can apply elsewhere. That is what I think people should learn, especially country like India. We have to grow economically, grow big way for catering to largest populated country in the world.
మెరైన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ చేయాలనుకున్న యూత్కి మీరు ఇచ్చే సజెషన్ ఏంటి? అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఎలా ఉండబోతుంది వాళ్ళ ప్రొఫెషన్? మీరున్నప్పుడు obviously
ships are much 1,000 times better ships now.
ఓకే.
Better design, better built ships, not so difficult to operate. But because of the nature of life, they're growing with mobile phones and friends and all kinds of stuff. They might find it a little difficult to be out at sea, away from everybody. But you have communication. Those days we didn't have communication. Satellite communication, $10 per minute.
Wow.
And we didn't have phone in India because BSNL used to take 10 years to give a phone. My wife didn't have a phone. So I could not talk to her on the phone for 6 months, 7 months. Now 6 minutes they'll talk. That is the difference. So
how did you maintain that relationship, at home? Because when you are away for
those days,
years,
mostly letters only. That also used to take very long time. My elder daughter actually, when I came back from ship, she called me uncle. Yeah, she was very small. Then I went on the ship, came back.
Okay.
She grew. So any guy, she used to say uncle, uncle. She thought I am also uncle. She never knew because those days cameras were not available also. Now mobile phones, so many cameras, you can keep on showing to your daughter, this is your dad. But she called me uncle.
Wow.
So that was the lifestyle. Difficult, mariner's life, but marine industry is essential for the world, for every individual in the world. So many things come and go economically. Otherwise it is expensive to live and you can't afford things when you import something. So everything is carried by merchant ships. But nobody understands, nobody tries to understand. So much of foreign exchange Indian government is paying to carry our own cargo to import and export. Why? And we are making India big way we are going. Very fast.
That's great insights, from your experience. I think we may have to wrap it up right now. Thanks very much. Thank you for, coming and sharing your life experiences. Thank you.
Thank you.